Hello everyone, this is Simon from BritSimonSays.com. Let's take a look at the CEAC data for the beginning of August 2019. This is DV 2019 data. Let's take a look at that and see how the year is going to end. Okay, so let's take a look at the data. So this is the site maintained by Zarthisius. Bit of a tongue twister for me. This data is provided to us, hosted by Zarthisius, but it is scraped by people. It's powered by human power. And if you look at my video a month ago, you'll see this gentleman's Zana from Albania had scraped about 31,000 cases at that time. He's added 22,000 cases in a month of cases that he's scraped. We had to scrape about 28,000 cases this month. And so he's done almost all the work. So thank you very much indeed, Zana. But to everyone else, we need to all share this work. Zana actually has his visa. He got his approval for his visa in July. Zarthisius has got his visa last year. I have had mine since 2014. So people out there that are still waiting for their visas, people that are interested in this process, going through this process in DV 2019 and DV 2020, really need to put in some effort to get this data. If you want to know how I know so much about the process, it's this data. Okay, so please do get involved and help out with this effort. Okay, so let's take a look at the data as it stands right now. Now, understand that CEAC data is a live database from which we can draw data at any given point in time. We just do it around about the beginning of the month. We do it through this scraping tool that has been developed, and we do it with the manpower that I just mentioned. At the same time, we also have official numbers being released from the government, but the official numbers are behind our numbers. They're not as up to date as our numbers. So we get the first look we get into these numbers are from this data, the CEAC data. So as of the last couple of days, up until you can say really the end of July, there have been 32,616 visas issued throughout all of the regions. The regions that stand here, none of them are close to their visa caps, so there is no issue there. I know that Egypt, as we have discussed, is probably close to its cap, but in terms of regions, there are no regions that are close to their caps. So this data is pretty reliable, and we can see that with August and September processing and interviews to go, we have only issued, or we've only seen 32,000 issued. That's low. I've been discussing for several months now why it's low, and that we're going to undershoot. It was probably a low year anyway, but we're going to undershoot what we should be at. So you can come and have a look at this data yourself, but I wanted to show a couple of things here on this page. So firstly, if we compare, we take one region, which is Africa region, for example, and if you watch the region numbers here and you see what's happened, in this last month, there's been a big increase in cases which are have got some activity. They've moved from the NVC status into some other status, in transit or ready for interview, etc. So since July 5th, between that time and this time, August 6th, you can see there's a large jump in data. And as you go through the different regions, you'll see to the same or to a lesser extent, there's been a little bit of a jump here in Asia. Again, not huge, not dramatic in Europe. OC almost, South America rather, almost imperceptible, and OC region, again, very little. Okay, now we have backup. We know what the changes are. The changes are the number of cases being scheduled, but also the number of cases that have been interviewed and decided or put on AP, refused, issued, those sort of statuses. So we have the 2NL count, which is shown here. So every month since March, Xarthisius has been providing the data to us in a simple format, so we can see how many cases have gone for interview or are being set up for interview. And I've plotted that data onto this chart here, so we can see that where we stood last month. As you may remember from my last video, I was a bit disappointed with these numbers that we saw last month. We had another month with 3,300 interviews being arranged. We only saw 1,700 interviews being arranged for the month of August in Africa. Other months were there or thereabouts, not particularly exciting. This month we've seen a huge uptick in Africa, and that's why there's so much movement in that chart that I was just showing when I moved the slider bar for Africa. That's why there's so much movement there. And for the other regions, they're getting to the end of their their natural course, which is okay. But what I'm encouraged about is this number for Africa. It means that rather than just another 2,000, 1,800, 1,700 cases, they've suddenly scheduled a large number of cases. KCC really put some effort in to make sure that as many people as possible got scheduled. I believe they delayed the cutoff point when they would accept cases, based on documentation being received and processed. And they delayed that for as long as possible. Then they made as many interviews as possible, which is why we saw slightly later to NLs this month. But they did a tremendous job. They may still be sending out a couple of straggler interviews, but by and large, by now, they've moved on to DV 2020. So this was a last push for them. It does mean that there are 2,700 cases that are going to be interviewed in Africa region in September. Those cases in particular need to go to the interviews well prepared. You don't want to go to the interview in December and get put onto administrative processing if you can avoid it. You don't want to be on AP. It would be a shame to be put on AP in September or even late September simply because you forgot to take a document that you really should have known to taken. Okay, so please focus carefully on your preparation. A delay through a missing document in September could be the end of your case. There is no way that a case can be issued after September 30th, 2019 for a DV 2019 case. So you're running out of options, you're running out of time. You have to make sure your documents are fully prepared and that you over prepare for the interview to make sure you've got everything that the CEO could ask for and everything you think might be possible to prove your case. So focus on the standard documents, focus on financial ability to support yourself or an I-134 from a sponsor in America. Focus on education credentials or your job credentials, whatever it is that you need to show. If you've got something unusual about your case, like a child over 21, CSPA, or some sort of chargeability concern, something like that, if you need to take extra documentation to your interview, please make sure you're covered with that. Okay, so that's the 2NL data there. You can download the data yourself at this website. You should know the link by now, but I'll give it to you in the link in the information below. Here's the raw data that shows all of that data that is being presented to us in an easy to read format here. You can go in and search this website for a particular embassy if you wish. You can check the file for a particular embassy or particular case numbers, whatever you want. That data is all there, and it's there thanks to these people that are scraping. And this month, almost exclusively to one guy. Amazing. So have a look at that. You can also have a look at the annual issuances. There is something interesting about this when you look at this view. I think as we've gone through the year, perhaps people haven't sort of really grasped what happened in DV 2019. But if we look at the visas issued per month number, this is all countries, all regions, 2019. You can see that October, November, December, there was a gradual increase. Number of visas issued per month were normal. Then there was a massive drop off for January because this is the effect of the new document procedure. And whilst you could normally expect a gradual increase over the first 3 months, as I think I've probably explained in other videos, this sudden drop in January was really damaging to us. There's a big gap there. And although the monthly cumulative figure has increased month by month, we're still not at the sort of level that we should be seeing issued ideally. So we saw in June the official issuance number was just over 5,000, 5,288 there. If we compare that to the numbers we have from what was arranged in terms of June interviews, that was 3,700 interviews that produced 5,200 visas, right? So we can expect 5,000 visas probably from August and September once you, each of those months, once you add in the likelihood of cases closing through AP, we might see, let's say, 11,000 cases or 11,000 issued visas during those 2 months. If we take where we are now on the 2019 data, and we add in 2 months worth of 5,000 and 6,000, let's say total 11,000, we would be at about, we'll finish the year at around about 43,000, perhaps 44,000 out of a target of 50 or 55,000. It's an under issued year. It was a low selection year, but the new document procedure certainly did some damage to people's prospects this year. And as I say, that's news I've been talking about for several months, but I'm glad at least that KCC put in such a great push, great effort for the final month of the year, particularly in the African region. Okay, so hopefully that's interesting to you. Please go and have a look at this data. You can analyze it yourself. Feel free to ask me questions in the comment section below. Do let me know if you like this video. Just click the like button. Make sure you're subscribed, all the normal stuff. All of that activity helps my channel. And by helping my channel, we can get the word out there and make sure people get their visas, which is the main goal here. So good luck to everybody. Have a great day. Cheers now.